Welcome to Eliot Unitarian Chapel. My name is Tim Gardner, and I'm honored to be your liturgist this morning. I'm joined this morning by our third brave soul who participated in the So You Think You Can Preach workshop that Reverend Krista launched this spring, our own Lynn Murphy, also on the drums. Sharon Morgan is here. and is our pastoral care person this morning. Please see Sharon if something is weighing on your heart and a listening ear would be helpful. I'm so pleased to welcome each of you to our worship this morning, whether you are here in our sanctuary or participating from home. We are united as one community. Eliot Unitarian Chapel is a liberal religious community of spiritual seekers. We welcome each of you in the fullness of your age, race, ethnicity, your ways of being in body and mind, your gender expression, your sexual orientation, and religious background. Our core values are freedom, reason, respect, and love. If you are visiting for the first or second time, a special welcome to you. There are so many other things you could have chosen to do this morning, and you've chosen to be with us. I hope you feel warmly welcomed, that today's message speaks to you, and that we will see you again. If you are here in person, look for the green clipboards holding our guest form. Please complete the form so that we may stay in touch with you. We hope you will join us for coffee, tea, or lemonade in Adams Hall after the service. Come forward and through these doors and turn left. If you are new or newish, we invite you to take a blue mug so that we may be sure to welcome you. And if you are not new, please look for folks who have a blue mug and say hello. Those of you wearing name tags, thank you. And when you put them back, look for the name of someone you have missed seeing, and over the coming week, consider picking up the phone or sending a note or an email just to say hello and renew a friendship. So welcome all of you to our place of holiness, wholeness, and love. Welcome to Eliot Chapel. Lest there be any doubt, today is Father's Day. I stand now in the very place my own father would stand when he would serve as liturgist at Old Grace Episcopal Church, the original inhabitants of our beautiful sanctuary. You have your own memories of the fathers in your lives, biological, adoptive, fathers-in-law, grandfathers, father figures, the men who by their presence or absence, strengths or weaknesses, have shaped and led you to this place in your lives. Our chalice lighting words come from Peter Friedrichs. For sleepless nights awaiting the curfew breakers, for hours spent on sidelines cheering and watching school plays, sometimes resting our eyes. For the pressures of breadwinning, for teaching moments and mentoring moments, for hugs and kisses and stillness and play, for bedtime stories and early morning ice time, for handing over the car keys and waves goodbye, for father-daughter wedding dances, and the cradling of grandchildren for the first time. For all these moments and all of the meaning in the role of a lifetime, we light our chalice for fathers and for fatherhood.
Thank you. Morning, everyone. Wanted to give you a welcome. And I have a tribute table to fathers today for those who brought an item and later I'll invite you to come up if you wanted to say a few words about the item and your father. You are welcome to do so. We appreciate, and I appreciate Tim and everyone who's helped me with this. Our opening hymn is 1028 in the blue teal hymnal, The Fire Commitment.
Will you please join me in reciting in unison our congregational covenant, the words found in your order of service. As a free congregation, we promise to one another our mutual trust and support. To create beloved community, we promise to be kinder to each other than we have to be, to listen fully to each other with an open mind and heart, to speak responsibly and respectfully, to find ways to improve our church for all members and friends.
For those who brought an item, and we're doing this like bread service, and want to share what they've brought publicly, you're welcome to come up for our microphone over here. If we, a little bit at a time here, we'll start with this row, this side, and then the middle, and then the far side. So anyone who has an item that they want to share before they place on the table, you're welcome to come up for it.
Our family moved into a house in Pennsylvania in 1952. My father had a workshop in the basement. He died in 1999, a year after my mother had died. My brother took over the house, and we moved him out of that house, and you can imagine what we had to do that last year. That's more than 70 years, and we found a lot of artifacts of my father's history. This is one of them. He was an engineer and a sailor. He knew how to tie knots. He knew what was neat and what was not, but he also was whimsical. I've really come to value that because this is one of my favorite possessions that hangs in my workshop today.
Hello, I'm Ann Petlin. This is a photograph of my father, Jack Petlin. He was an engineer in an electrical engineer throughout his career, and we didn't find this picture until after he died, so we don't really know the context for it. It looks like he's got an array of batteries and he's doing some kind of an experiment, something with light. He loved photography. Finally, after raising 10 children, he indulged his passion for photography and finally bought himself a decent camera. So I wish I knew what was going on. As a family, we can make up stories about what Dad was doing here. But I love the picture. It shows him just very involved in whatever was involved with his career. And so I like having it on my desk.
Hello, this is a beautiful, ugly frog that I fell in love with as a child. I don't know how old I was. And I kept petting it like this. And I decided to give it to my dad not for Father's Day, for his birthday. And wrapped it up and gave it to him, and he noticed how much I loved it and it was hard to give it away. You know, you love somebody, but sometimes you want to keep it too. So I gave it to him, and then he turned around for Christmas and surprised me and wrapped it and gave it back to me. So it always reminds me of a father's love for their daughter. You know, thank you.
My father had an affinity for fishing from the time that he was a boy in Minnesota with his family. His family traveled up to Minnesota from Iowa, and my family went fishing sometimes in Canada, Halliburton, Ontario. And we moved to Connecticut. We got a boat, and he went fishing with some of his friends then. Even after he was in a wheelchair, his friend would take him out in the boat, you know, and he managed to navigate himself into the water and things like this. And when my family moved from Connecticut to Florida, this went with him. My father's friend gave this to him as a tribute. And every time I've moved since, 1980 or so, I've always taken this with me. It's a tribute to my father and his love for fishing. And incidentally, he was also an engineer, like a couple other fathers mentioned here.
I'm C.J. Potts, and used to be known as Claudia Jean, just to straighten that out with some people. Still my name. Obviously, I'm not allowed to sit on the table, even though I am dressed in my father's World War II Army Air Corps uniform, or at least parts of it. I have had it at my house since my mother passed away in 2014. It moved to my house, and I looked at it every day. And when I found out what the tributes were today, I decided, and I asked Lynn, and she agreed that I should wear it. So he was born in Ohio, but he went for basic training right here at Jefferson Barracks. And so my intention is, when I quit wearing this, it's the first time I have, I'm going to offer it to Jefferson Barracks with other things that I have that are mementos of his experience. He was always stateside. He worked at a base called Liberal, Army Air Corps base. It's now an airport, and they had B-52 bombers there, and that's what he worked on. What I am going to put on the table is he had such a love for his country that the eagle was really the greatest symbol that was meaningful to him. And we had many, many eagles all over our house. I just recently moved, don't have room for all of them. So this one was given to him in 1969 by my baby sister, who then passed away, and she's gone now. And I have it, but every time I see an eagle, I think of my father.
Good morning. Ben. Pull it up. Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Okay. So I really never took this holiday serious because we don't have fathers in our lives in my family. However, I heard the word grandfather, and wow, I've had a remarkable experience with my father. Growing up as a young girl in Germany, he took care of me for 8 years, and it is his unconditional love that I carry with me every single day. He died in '72, and my family's going through a rough time now with my mother dying and his daughter. So, Opa, if you can hear me, please continue to wrap your arms around me and give your daughter some peace. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, blessed be. Namaste. And thank everyone who publicly shared, or if you have an item you wanted put up here as a tribute and didn't want to share publicly with other people, that's fine. I appreciate that. Our Time for All Ages. I chose this book because Free as a Bird, I wasn't aware of this. It's a story of Malala. It's a true story. Why I liked it is it's her father who helped her fulfill her dream. And I thought that was so perfect for Father's Day. So I'll show the pictures. I'm sorry I can't project them even longer. When she was born, people sighed and shook their heads. "Oh, girl," they whispered.
Do you want to invite the kids up? We have kids in the audience.
I will. What bad luck. But her father looked into her eyes and fell in love. "Malala," he whispered, and named her after Malala of Maiwan, a Pushkin hero, whose fearless words gave courage and turned defeat into triumph. So here he is holding her as a baby, and there she is as a little girl. Malala's father ran a school for boys and girls. He took her tiny hands into his and led her through the halls. Malala would sit in classrooms filled with older children, and she would listen. And before she could speak, she would wander into the empty rooms and teach. As Malala grew, she realized that women in Pakistan did not have the same rights as men. Women like her mother had to hide their faces. They were expected to marry young and have children. They could not be anyone they wanted to be when they grew up. Malala watched her brothers fly kites from the roof. She wanted to be free like the kites. She wanted to fly. Malala said she would not follow those rules when she grew up, and while others around the world frowned in disapproval, her father would smile and say, "That's my daughter." Here they are flying kites. Malala will be free as a bird. Here she is flying. And Malala did feel free within the doors of her school, within the covers of a breathtaking book, within the pattern pages of calculus and chemistry. She loved to participate in public speaking contests at school and would often win. Her father said, "You should be a politician." Malala laughed and shook her head. She would be a doctor. Her father said, "You could help create a society where any girl could become a doctor." But then a new enemy came to Pakistan. At first, the enemy hid within the radio. They told the people what to do. They told the people that girls could no longer go to school. Then the enemy came out of hiding. They punished people who did not listen to them. They blew up the school for girls. The government sent an army to fight the enemy, and a war began. At night, Malala and her brothers hid in their parents' room as the two sides fired at each other. But during the day, Malala secretly went to school. Malala's father was not afraid. He spoke out and begged people to stand up for the enemy, to the enemy's demands. Malala watched her father's speeches. She said to herself, "Why don't you go and fight for girls' rights? Fight to make Pakistan a better place." Malala's mother said, "Speaking up is the only way things will get better." So Malala began to talk about the importance of schools for girls. "No one will stop me," she said. "I will get my education." But the enemy began to threaten Malala and her father. They told Malala's father, "Do not teach girls." They told Malala, "Do not talk about girls and education." One day, Malala's father told her she should stop speaking out because it was getting too dangerous. But Malala said, "Now is now my calling. You were the one who said that if we believe in something greater than our lives, then our voices will only multiply. I will protect your freedom, Malala," said her father. Carry on with your dreams. But the day came when he could not protect her. For 7 days, Malala slept and dreamed. She awoke in a hospital. She was told that the enemy had tried to end her life, but she had survived. Malala was no longer in her beloved country of Pakistan. She was now in England, where girls are free to go to school and learn. But she knew that girls and boys in many countries could not. Some of the countries were too poor. Others were always at war. And still others didn't think education was necessary, especially for girls. Malala would not keep silent. So she began to travel around the world and speak to girls and boys and teachers, to reporters, to leaders and presidents and queens, to anyone who would listen. She is traveling around the world. I speak not for myself, but for all girls and boys. I raise up my voice, not so that I can shout, but so those who without a voice can be heard. Those who have fought for their rights to live in peace, their right to be treated with dignity, their right to equality of opportunity, right to be educated. One child, one teacher, one pen, and one book can change the world. And Malala's father watched and said, "Look at her. Don't you think?" She's meant for the skies. When the world is silent, even one voice becomes powerful. Malala, September 27th, 2013. Malala and her father co-founded the Malala Fund, a nonprofit. On December 10th, 2014, Malala was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. She is the youngest recipient of the award. She continues to travel and talk about the importance of education for girls and all children. She currently lives in England with her parents and brothers. Thank you. I thought that was timely. Yes, and for those, I know it's so warm. I didn't know if any children wanted to go outside. Let's go ahead and sing out if anyone wants to leave.
I invite you now into a time of prayer and meditation. If you wish to, you may put your feet flat on the floor, straighten your spine, close your eyes, and follow your breath. Hear now these prayerful words from Ron Richards. On this Father's Day, we recognize the vast spectrum of experience and the often complicated feelings that surround such a celebration. We honor those fathers and father figures in our lives who have loved, supported, encouraged, and instructed us, and we seek to share these gifts with others. We mourn with those who mourn the loss of a father, and fathers who mourn the loss of a child, whether separated by death or estrangement. We support those for whom this day brings pain and sorrow, who suffered abandonment, neglect, or abuse. We support and celebrate the fathers in our midst who gave of themselves to their children, recognizing all the strength and wisdom and stamina and love and time and honest introspection that fatherhood requires. We support those men who chose not to have children, yet who are present in loving and supportive ways to children, youth, and adults alike. And we seek to honor wherever we find ourselves today across this vast spectrum of experience, and to feel the compassion that embraces us with this silence. I invite you now to speak the names of any you wish to hold up for the love and prayers of our community. We hold these and all good souls who could not be named in our hearts. Amen. Please remain seated while we sing our meditation hymn 1002 in the teal, Comfort Me.
We will sing verses 1, 2, and 4. Comfort, sing, dance. Sing with me. Sing with me. Sing with me. Sing with me, oh my soul. Sing with me. Sing with me. Sing with me, oh my soul. Dance. Dance with me. Dance with me. Dance with me, oh my soul. Dance with me. Dance with me. Dance with me, oh my soul.
Each month, we share half of our offering with an organization that shares our values. This month, we are sharing our offering with the Prisoner Performing Arts Organization of St. Louis. Last week, we were privileged to hear from John Wolters, the executive director of PPA. We assembled the following from their website. Prison Performing Arts has helped Greater St. Louis area prisoners, returning citizens, and justice-involved youth build second acts through engagement with the arts. Our community is deeply rooted in acceptance, collaboration, and inclusion. We come from all walks of life and believe that embracing our differences make us better artists, learners, teachers, staff, board members. People of color and on the LGBTQIA+ community are often unfairly and disproportionately targeted by the carceral system. However, our work with juvenile and adult correctional centers is an opportunity to heal these collective injustices. We denounce behaviors fueled by prejudice and are fully committed to being an anti-racist, anti-discriminatory organization. Our programs intentionally create opportunities for authentic self-expression that validate the worth and the respect and dignity of each person. All members of the PPA community have a responsibility to act with respect for all. While PPA fosters a diversity of artistic voices, we recognize that we have much learning and unlearning to do as we strive to be more inclusive and equitable in all our practices. Close quote. This spring, PPA has worked with youth in the St. Louis Juvenile Detention Center, writing plays, helped residents of the Northeast Correctional Center up in Bowling Green produce the play 12 Angry Men, assisted the residents of the Women's Eastern Reception Diagnostic and Correctional Center up in Vandalia produce Breeches, a play for Lady Romeos with writings by the Wayward Sisters. And finally, a graduation ceremony for those leaving the Arts and Healing program at the Transition Center of St. Louis. Let us be a generous people. Would the ushers please come forward? And would you join me in our words of, I forget, dedication of gifts. Thank you. Found in your order of service. To the work of the church, which is weaving a tapestry of love and action, we dedicate our lives, and these are offerings.
Our prayer this morning is for by Carol Allman Morton. It's a Father's Day prayer. On Father's Day, we honor those people who have been teachers, confidants, and friends. We acknowledge that it's not biology that makes a parent, but love and attention. For those of us that have lost a father or a child, we hold their memories in our hearts. For all of us who are fathers, we ask for continued help in discerning how best to care for our children, whether they are 5 or 50 years old. May the strands of relationships between ourselves and all of creation grow ever stronger. May all of us, no matter what our place in the cycle of life, experience nurture and love. And may we pass on that love to those we encounter on our own paths. So may it be. Amen. Our interlude is In My Father's Eye by Eric Clapton, sung by our wonderful Stephen Jarrett.
sailing down behind the sun, waiting for my prince to come, praying for the healing rain to restore my soul again. Just a tow rag on a double run. How did I get here? What have I done? When will all my hopes arise? How will I know him when I look in my Father's eyes? My Father's eyes. When I look in my Father's eyes. My Father's eyes. Then the light begins to shine. I hear those ancient lullabies as I watch this ceiling grow. Feel my heart start to overflow. Where do I find the words to say? How do I teach him? What do we play? Bit by bit I've realized that's when I need them. That's when I need my Father's eyes. My Father's eyes. That's when I need my Father's eyes. My Father's eyes. Then the jagged edge appears through the distant clouds of tears. I'm like a bridge that was washed away. My foundations were made of clay. As my soul slides down to die, how could I lose him? What did I try? Bit by bit I've realized that he was here with me. I looked into my Father's eyes. My Father's eyes. I looked into my Father's eyes. My Father's eyes.
Thank you, Steve. Hello, happy Father's Day. Today we take time to reflect on fathers and father figures, no matter whether those who fathered you are alive or not. Fathers are important figures in our lives. They've helped shape some of our thoughts and ways to live our lives. There are single and gay dads who raise children, and there are lesbians raising children who serve both roles of mother and father. So we celebrate the variety of fathers and father figures in our lives. On this Father's Day, we take time to give thanks for the gifts we've received from the positive fathers in our lives. We were going to sing We Give Thanks, but we're running out of time. So if you see hymn 1010, you're welcome to look at it and remember about giving thanks. How did Father's Day begin? In 1898, Snora Smart Dodd was 16 when her mother died. Her widowed dad, a Civil War veteran, was left to raise 6 children alone. Then in 1909 in Spokane, Washington, she listened to a Mother's Day sermon at a Central Methodist church. Since her own father had raised 6 children alone, she wanted to honor fathers, similarly to women on Mother's Day. She went to local churches, the YMCA, etc., and was successful in getting Washington State to celebrate the first statewide Father's Day on 6/19/1910. But it was not a national holiday, and received resistance in establishing it as a national holiday. In 1959, Maine Senator Margaret Chase Smith wrote a proposal accusing Congress of ignoring fathers for 40 years while honoring mothers, thus singling out just one parent. In 1966, President Johnson issued the first presidential proclamation honoring fathers. It was finally made a permanent holiday by President Richard Nixon, who signed it into law on April 24, 1972. My sources are Wikipedia and History.com. Some people may have mixed feelings about Father's Day, such as expressed by Ryan Urey. Father's Day is an important time to check in with the complex feelings this day may evoke. For some of us, the story of fatherhood is about love, acceptance, and guidance. But for others, it's a story of rejection, abuse, shame, or abandonment. For some, it's a story of nurturance, but for others, it's marked by frustration and resentment. A story of burdens and unrealized dreams. For some, fatherhood is a longing for children unborn, or lost to death or estrangement. Many of us have no father story at all. Whatever your story and your feelings about having or not having, being or not being a father, we honor your unique experience this day. And I invite you to let your experience be what it is without measuring it against false ideas. While your Father's Day may be anything but a celebration, the force of this idea of father affects us all in one way or another. Let us take a moment to go inward and experience the thoughts and feelings we have around the concept of father. If what you're feeling is love, then I invite you to bask in that warmth and let it fill you. If what you're feeling is pain or rage, then hold it gently and listen as it wails its lament. If what you're feeling is pain or rage, then hold it gently. If what you're feeling is sorrow, let yourself be slowly rocked by its waves. And if what you experience is a longing of a child abandoned, then create and cradle that inner child and offer it the unconditional acceptance and love it yearns for. Let's all take a deep breath as we cradle that inner child inside. Today we're going to focus on positive aspects of Father's Day. In the modern family, there are a variety of fathers and father figures. There are also many images of father figures on TV and movies, such as Friends, Father Knows Best, Mrs. Doubtfire, Danny Thomas, John Wayne movies, Jimmy Stewart movies, Gary Cooper movies, All in the Family, Lion King, and Darth Vader and Star Wars, to name a few. Does that bring back memories for you? As far as the challenge for Father's Day of what makes a man, during the feminist movement, while I was searching for who I wanted to be, my own father was very supportive. I was also fortunate to be allowed to be part of a group of men who call themselves changing men. They were searching for their own sense of identity, apart from the strict macho image expected of men in our society. It was a very moving experience to be part of their discussions and search for identity. During a poetry sharing, one of the men looked across at me and said that because I was there, he would share something that he said women understand because they have experienced it, and that is that he feels used in every relationship he's been in. Then another man shared the fact that he had come out recently as gay, and because of that, his wife won't let him see his son, and he loved his son. He might have sung a lullaby. Daddy's here, loving you. Go to sleep, my little baby. So it was a blessing to hear these men. It was very touching. They shared their issues and their own journeys. What might your own father, brother, grandfather, etc., have gone through in seeking their own identities and finding what is right for them. Now, in my own father's case, we did have bonding moments. He taught science and helped me with science project. Remember those? And leaf collections, remember those? He taught me how to pitch and catch a baseball. Voila. We went to college football games, watched every John Wayne movie, boxing on TV, and the Three Stooges together. Remember those? Personally, my favorite was when Curly put on a wig and a dress and pretended to be an opera singer. That was fun. In addition, when I moved out of the house to be on my own, he said to let him know if there was anything I needed. Hopefully you have such memories of those kinds of moments in your own life. Let us each today take a few moments to quietly reflect on what you've gotten from your own father. Close your eyes and reflect for a moment. As we have reflected on father figures in our own lives, many of you know how much I love to sing. However, I never sang for my father or shared my love of music with him. I did share the love of music with my uncle, who had a beautiful tenor voice. We bonded together talking about music and opera. Then, at his funeral, I did approach his open coffin and quietly sang 2 tenor arias to honor him. It felt good to honor him this way. It did uplift my soul and help me feel grateful that he and I had shared a love of music and song. May each of us here have the experience of kindness, love, and bonding with the father figures in our lives. Blessed be. Our closing hymn is Mother Spirit, Father Spirit.
Please join me in the unison words as we extinguish our chalice. We extinguish this chalice, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Please be seated for the postlude.
Thank you. To honor my father and all fathers who have been or will be, those in our presence here who have been father figures, male, female, whatever your gender expression. I wanted to sing a little bit of Because You Loved Me. For all the times that you stood by me, for all the truth that you made me see, for all the joy that you brought into my life, for all the wrong that you made right, for every dream that you made come true, for all the love I found in you, I'll be forever thankful. You're the one who held me up, never let me go. You're the one who saw me through it all. You were my strength when I was weak. You were the voice when I couldn't speak. You were my eyes when I couldn't sleep. You were the best you were in me. Lifted me up when I couldn't reach. You gave me faith 'cause you believe. I'm grateful for who I am because you love me. Thank you, everyone. Blessings. Blessing to all fathers and father figures. Go now in peace. Thank you.